diving into discussions that matter. We'll tackle the headlines, explore stories that shape our lives, and dissect the issues that keep us awake at night. But that's not all. The Morning Crossfire is your platform too. Your thoughts, your opinions, they all have a place right here. From politics to business and the economy, from the social issues to the heart of the city. I'll be your companion, your source of information, and your partner in exploration. And it's just not about the headlines. It's about the conversations we have, the connections we make, and the impact we create. Your insights matter, your questions matter, and your energy matters. So whether you're in traffic, having breakfast, or starting your workday, I'll be right here, keeping you informed and engaged. So Lagos, stay tuned, set your alarms, and mark your calendars, and let's kickstart our mornings together, right here on the Morning Crossfire on 99.3 Nigeria Info and Kofi Bartels. Let's talk.
Live from the heart of Victoria Island, you're listening to your number one station, 99.3 Nigeria Info. Is Morning Crossfire on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
All right, Lagos, welcome. It's still the Morning Crossfire. A special thanks to Jimmy Diso and Sheriff Corey for the in-depth analysis of today's newspaper headlines. Of course, we've taken the news at 8. The next installment of the news will be at 9 o'clock. But we've all had the news, breaking news yesterday of a new ministry in Nigeria by the President Bola Tinubu administration called the Ministry of Livestock Development. The President informed that he will be setting that up. Okay, I'm sure that we still have some way to go to see that actualized. But we want to talk about that. President Bola Tinubu's new ministry of livestock development. What are the implications for Nigeria in terms of governance, in terms of agriculture, in terms of food security, in terms of security, in terms of peace? We want to talk about all that. So please join our conversation. Your thoughts are welcome on the phone lines, but please permit me to introduce our guest. He's Mr. Kelvin Emmanuel. Kelvin Emmanuel is an economist, amongst other things, and he joins us live via the phone line. So, Kelvin Emmanuel, good morning to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Good morning, Kofi. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Okay. Fantastic. Let's start by taking your reaction to the development, the breaking story. It's still a developing story because I think the processes are still ongoing. This new ministry called Ministry of Livestock Development.
Well, I think it's important for me to make a little clarification. The presidency didn't actually say it was going to create yet the Ministry of Livestock Development. What the presidency said is that it's created a presidential committee on livestock development, and that the decision for setting up a ministry will depend on the recommendation of the committee, if it's necessary or it's not necessary. In my opinion, I don't think a Ministry of Livestock Development is necessary because a Ministry of Livestock falls under animal husbandry. And animal husbandry is the purview of the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. If the prices of meat, of milk, of cheese curds, of butter, of chicken, of eggs are going up and contributing to the rising food inflation, which is currently anywhere around 45 to 50% in Lagos, for example, then Mr. President should fire the Minister of Agriculture. He's not doing his job.
Okay. All right. But I interesting. I thought because what we had was that the report by the what is it, the National Livestock Reform Committee, was that the president should create a ministry. So you're saying the president has not agreed to create it yet?
No, the president. I saw the release from the presidency, and it says that the president has inaugurated a presidential committee
yes.
on livestock development.
Yes.
And the creation of a ministry will depend on the recommendation of that committee.
All right. We'll come back to that. So you're saying that it's not necessary to create a Ministry of Livestock Development.
It's not necessary. It's because you have what they call the National Livestock Transformation Plan, which the immediate past government developed, but did not actually implement. Nigeria spends anywhere around $2 billion a year importing milk, dairy products, cheese curds, butter, because butter is a derivative of processing raw milk, And it's an irony because you have a country that has about 24 million heads of cattle. You have about 13 different breeds of cows. Yeah. So what is the problem with developing industrial feed mills that actually create the pelletized feed that cattle in countries like Denmark, Netherlands, the US consume? Because the fallacy we've imbibed in Nigeria, because we have a culture dating back to more than 100 years of nomadic herding, where herders move cattle from one part of Nigeria to the other, is that cattle are actually supposed to eat grass and travel across states. And it's a lie. Because in modern ranching, in civilized countries in Europe, cattle are actually ranched in a specific location. And the business of dairy, for example, is serious business. Okay? So it baffles me, because it's an irony that in Nigeria, 209 million people were used to moving cattle from one part of the country to the other, and 24 million cattle cannot produce anywhere near 200,000 liters of milk. Nigeria, for example, consumes 1.6 million liters of milk on a yearly basis. Yeah? Okay. So, if the Minister of Agriculture does not know his job, why is he the minister?
All right. I want to just maybe create this picture so we can compare. Now we have Ministry of Works. We have Ministry of how would I put it again? Different ministries. Social welfare. We have Ministry of Education. We have Ministry of Sports. We also have the Niger Delta Development Commission, but there is Ministry of the Niger Delta. I'm sure, Kelvin, you can understand why the federal government created the Ministry of the Niger Delta.
Kofi,
because it was a special situation.
Kofi, I'm from Brass in Bayelsa State.
Oh, you're from
my village. Okay. My village is an island surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean.
So you're from Brass.
I can tell you that, yes, I can tell you that the Niger Delta Development Commission has been a waste of space. Because you can see that the probe that the National Assembly did shows that over 6 trillion naira has been misappropriated, by the NDDC. The Ministry of Niger Delta was created basically as a compensation for the agitation of Niger Delta. So you have to ask yourself, if you go to the Niger Delta today, what has been the impact of the Ministry of Niger Delta on the people? There's no impact. You can see that the government in compensating different regions, because the Northeast Development Commission was created to compensate for the issues in the Northeast. Now they are creating the Northwest Development Commission. They are creating the Southeast Development Commission. Even the North Central is asking for a development commission. Soon, the Southwest will also ask for their own development commission. It's political compensation. So it's a complete waste of money.
All right. But what do you say for that the Ministry of Niger Delta, for instance, underscores an importance, a need, something that needs to be done because of the importance of Niger Delta, the peculiar challenges. For instance, if we have a Northeast Development Commission, some could argue that, or even a Ministry of Northeast, some could argue that it's because of the war that's ravaged the Northeast, insurgency, and the special attention that it needs. So does the livestock sector? Because I've looked at the reason the president set up this presidential committee. What was it called again? I'm trying to get the name. national. There was a national conference on livestock reforms in Nigeria, and then the president also set up a presidential committee dedicated to addressing the herders and farmers clashes. So is there a special case that needs to be taken out of agric because of the peculiar situation?
I don't think it's a special case that needs to be taken out of agric, because the issues around the farmer herder clash can be solved by ranching, commercial ranching. Yeah? Around you like aggregating herders in clusters. Yeah, setting up irrigation channels, creating like a supply value chain, setting up industrial feed mills, setting up milking parlors, setting up storage tanks, setting up cold storage facilities to store the milk to prevent it from developing bacterial load after it's milk from the cows. You don't need a separate ministry to be able to solve the problem of the fact that Nigeria spends $2 billion a year importing dairy products from Europe. You don't need it.
All right, but livestock are just more than cattle, right? We have goats are livestock, ram, sheep, chicken. Chicken is livestock as well. So yeah, I was going to ask with the focus on cows, should it be Ministry of Cow instead of Ministry of Livestock?
Kofi, we don't need a separate ministry. It's under Agri and Rural Development Format. And unfortunately, during the immediate past administration, the Central Bank of Nigeria, under the aegis of Development Finance Department, that was controlling NISA, like a credit guarantee scheme that the federal government set up, CBN set up to provide like counterparty insurance risk cover for agricultural lending in Nigeria, basically the leveraging and the risking. And under the Anchor Brewers program, for example, you could see that they had impairment of nearly 75%, and that program was nearly a waste. The only thing it succeeded in doing, for example, was backward integration for rice, and you could see that 57% of the consumption of rice is actually been fully backward integrated. The remaining 43% is the reason why you've seen the inflation in the prices of rice in the market. Now, let me pick chicken as a specific example. Nigeria consumes about 1.4 million metric tons of chicken feeds on a yearly basis.
All right.
Like the feeds that are used to grow chicken for the meat, white meat, and egg. But it will interest you to note that around 400,000 metric tons of feed are short, because 70% of the composition of poultry feeds actually comes from maize and soybean. And in Nigeria today, there's a shortage of maize and soybean because of the situation in the northeast, the situation in the northwest, insecurity drove a lot of farmers away. The prices of fertilizer, the prices of chemicals, the prices of diesel for you to open land for, land preparation and development. These are the factors that led to a shortage of maize and soybean that is used to make poultry feeds and that goes into your white meat and eggs. So if you're going to address the shortage or the inflation in the prices of chicken and eggs, and in Lagos, for example, I'm sure the prices of chicken per kilo have gone up to about 6,500, 7,000 in some areas, and the prices of a crate of egg has also gone to around the same range, compared to what it was like 7-8 years ago. You have to address the underlying issues. What are the underlying issues? Deal with the increase in the production of maize, the increase in the production of soybean, the backward integration of diammonium phosphate, the backward integration of muriate of potash that is used along with ammonium nitrate to gas to blend NPK fertilizer. Fertilizer is a major component of growing any crop in Nigeria. maize and soybean used to produce poultry feed that goes into your chicken and eggs. So you have to come back to the basics, the primary production, the foundational layer of it. And that's why I said all of this is under the purview of the Minister of Agric and Rural Development. So if he's not performing and meeting up with his KPIs, it's the president's prerogative to fire him and replace him.
Okay, but we'll come back to all of that. For those listening, please call 0201-277-0993, 0201-277-1993, 0201-277-2993, or 0201-277-3993. We have a caller on the line before we go for a break. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Kate.
Welcome, good morning. I'm not alone, I'm with Kelvin Emmanuel. Yes.
I'm calling from Urile in Sarigom.
Welcome.
You see, your guest is making a very, very valid point. We are trying to create excuse for the ineptitudeness of political appointees. Are you not telling me that any other sector that is not functioning, they will create a ministry for it? We are already thinking of how they will implement the Ronsaye's report on one hand. Now, on another hand, they are planning to create a ministry. When will they create a ministry for fishery and the other things? Is it only livestock that is not functioning? If the Minister for Agriculture is not doing well, please, the man should leave that office. Let them come up with a better. It's not creating and now if they create that office, they will raise another civil servant to occupy those offices.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Things are part of what
Thank you.
We are talking about too much bureaucracy.
Thank you.
More and more.
Thank you very much for your time. 99.3, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome. Please speak up. Your name, location, and contribution, please.
Hello.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Mecca is Emmanuel from
Mecca, welcome. Your thoughts on this whole ministry?
In addition to what Pastor Ladibo just said, I think what we're doing is a duplicity of ministries, and we don't need it now. We're already saying that the cabinet is overbloated. And I think yesterday we read out that the unbudgeted surplus deficit of this administration is only running to 9 trillion thereabouts. So who's going to pay all this debt? And there is nothing feasible for us to see. No, it does not translate to improving the lives of the ordinary Nigerians. No infrastructure in place. It's not to strengthen the already existing ministry or institutions we have. We want to continue to pacify and assuage political loyalty with more appointments. This Ministry of Livestock Development or this engagement with livestock development is a welcome development to solve the pastoral and farmers crisis, but it should be embedded in the Ministry of Agriculture. Let us strengthen what we have, enhance it for optimal capacity.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time. We have a call. I'll take one before we go for a break. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
You've called before now. We're taking one call per listener per show.
Okay, let me bring voice first.
All right, thank you very much. 99.3, good morning.
Hello, Kofi, good morning.
Very quickly, 30 seconds, please.
Okay. The first 20 countries that are selling beef, Nigeria are not among. The first 20 countries that are selling mix, Nigeria are not among. So after killing all the poultry here and there everywhere, it's even affecting me, so I want to close down my poultry. You now want to go and set live clinical with the ministry. Let them continue.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. Our guest is still with us. Kelvin will come back to you in a jiffy after our commercial break, so please stay with us. For those of you listening, please stay with us. We'll be right back.
More talk, news, and sports after this.
Just when I thought that I would be a tenor for the rest of my life, hey, I finally found a way to escape that bondage. I should not even say my village people's bondage. But you guys, I just became a landlord in Lagos, on the island, with the Grande Properties rent-to-own scheme, and I paid only 30% deposit in 3 installments. And I got stress-free financing that I can pay back for as long as 30 years while living in my new home. Ready to become a landlord? Join the League of Smart Home Owners with Le Grande Properties today. It is that easy, that smooth. Secure your future now with Le Grande Properties. Call now at 091 55007877 or 080 344 06 817. Le Grande Properties, where dreams find a home. You are still here. You better hurry and make that call now.
Shape your future at Nile University of Nigeria, Abuja. Choose from our over 90 undergraduate and postgraduate programs across 8 diverse faculties, including health sciences and computing studies. Experience our ultra-modern facilities and seasoned lecturers dedicated to your growth. Apply today at nileuniversity.edu.ng. For inquiries, call 0806-602-7981. Nile University of Nigeria. Your journey to excellence starts here.
To cook correct food, they always give me joy. That's now why anytime where they cook like this, I always season them with no cubes. Come add correct vegetables inside. Ugu, tatasheo, shombo, onions. No one I know they put. Now he make my pikin them, they always enjoy my cooking.
Daddy, I never will. I want more.
You see? Sama all your food with correct vegetables. Come season them with no cubes for that to get delicious taste. Today, chop better.
Tell me which kind thing Viva no fi wash away. Jenna tomato paste or coffee stain your body. Viva go wash away. Chicken for your clothes now all you need for Viva to wash away. Gentle for your pocket. Gentle for your hand, oh my Viva, you couldn't make you shine. Oh Viva, oh I love my Viva, oh Uncle say bye bye to very top stage, yo. Mama say bye bye to any kind stage, yo.
The Access Holdings rights issue is now open. For every 2 ordinary shares in your portfolio, take advantage of the chance to acquire one more at 19 naira 75 kobo each between 8th of July to the 14th of August 2024. We're inviting you to take up your rights in full in the Access Holdings rights issue. Visit www.theaccesscorporation.com to find important information about our rights issue, such as the rights circular, issuing houses, receiving banks, and legal advisors. Access Holdings, where the world connects.
In a world where connectivity reigns supreme, there's one name that stands tall. Introducing Huawei eKit, cutting-edge switches, routers, and access points brought to you by TD Africa, the continent's force in tech distribution. Our next-generation networking solutions are engineered to redefine reliability, productivity, and affordability, helping small businesses scale rapidly. Join the millions who have made the switch to Huawei's eKit. Talk to TD Africa today. Email inquiries@tdafrica.com to get on board.
Here you go, dear.
Mom, you didn't add milk.
No need to. Taste it and see why.
Wow, but how?
Is it milky?
Very.
Is it creamy?
Yes.
That's Milo 3-in-1 milky and creamy for you. It's so milky. I don't need to add more milk.
I love it, Mommy.
Give your kids the new Milo 3-in-1. Milky and creamy. It's truly milky. It contains calcium to help your champ win every day. Milo, energy to go further.
Milo! Who says you can't have it all with one play?
I got that defined, boy. You have just won yourself.
Congratulations.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, Melitus. One player, don't talk to 2 players because you won 20K.
So now you won yourself 20,000 naira.
My name is Well Done.
Okay, well done. You want to tell you, well done. You won yourself 20,000 naira.
With 500 naira, you can play to win big. From 120,000 naira to 190,000 naira daily on Nigeria Info. Go to oneplay.ng and play with 500 naira. And in a few seconds, your ticket is in the draw. Or dial *347 *880 *3 hash. Win daily on Nigeria Info. 50,000 naira on Morning Crossfire. 60,000 naira on WhatsApp Lagos. 20,000 naira on Sunnyside. And 60,000 naira on Game On. So Lagos, what are you waiting for? The more you play, the better your chances of winning. Remember to dial *347 *880 *3 hash. Play responsibly. Not suitable for persons under the age of 18.
Welcome back to your number one talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info. Live from the heart of Victoria Island, you're listening to your number one station, 99.3 Nigeria Info. Morning Crossfire on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Lagos, welcome back. It's still the Morning Crossfire right here on 99.3 Nigeria Info. My name is Kofi Bartels. We have Kelvin, Emmanuel, Economist, on the line. Joining us this morning to look at President Bola Tinubu's new Ministry of Livestock Development. Look, like I said, the ministry is just a promise the president has made, but the process is to bring that to reality. Of course, won't just take a promise. It has to go through some processes. I guess that's in bearing his mind on this promise or proposal by the president to create a Ministry of Livestock Development. He's an expert in different areas, including agriculture, and he believes that the Ministry of Agriculture is well positioned and empowered to do anything this new Ministry of Livestock Development wants to do. But what do you think? What do you think out there? Please feel free to share your thoughts with us on the numbers usually advertised: 0201-277-0993, 0201-277-1993, 0201-277-2993, or 0201-277-3993. To go, before we go on with the conversation, just to remind you quickly that you can be part of 5 lucky players to win 10,000 naira this morning, a total of 50,000 naira. Courtesy the One Play Lottery. Go to the website www.oneplay.ng. All right, www.oneplay.ng. Click the box that has or displays the Nigeria Info logo, and you can play for as little as 500 naira and stand the chance to win 10,000 naira. You can buy as many tickets as you want, but do know that you have to buy the tickets that will mean that your winning will be significant. So you're playing for 10,000 now, you wisely buy the tickets you need to buy, comfortably. All right, the website again is the number one and the word play together, oneplay.ng, number one and then the word play, P-L-A-Y together, oneplay.ng. I'll run the draws before I leave the studio this morning. All right, Kelvin, Emmanuel, we're looking at the history of this development. Of course, you mentioned the National Livestock Transformation Program of President Buhari, which also was met with one or two opposition, because of the fear that some people had regarding that livestock transformation plan. We also had proposals for grazing ranches to be established and all that, and some we had at different times, attempts at the National Assembly to establish ranches and all that. Kelvin, do you think this is a resuscitation, a reincarnation of those plans?
Well, Kofi, livestock is very important. It falls under animal husbandry, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
And it's critical to food security, which is now in the national security basket. A threat to Nigeria's food security is a threat to Nigeria's national security. I always say that there is a war in Nigeria. Or there is a global war, for example. Yeah. If the war breaks out, maybe World War III, how many days of Nigerians not being able to import food will we have until we go into starvation and we're forced to concede our sovereignty to an enemy territory in exchange for food supply? That is a test, or a stress test, of how fortified you are with your food security strategies as a country. Okay? Nigeria has strategic grain reserves, but that grain reserve is not able, for example, in a crisis time that we're in, with food inflation at over 40%, to solve anywhere near 20% of the deficit. We need 7 million metric tons of maize to cover the deficit of maize in Nigeria. Nigeria produces anywhere around 19 to 20 million metric tons of maize. We have a shortage of 7 million metric tons of maize. Nigeria imports about $5 billion worth of wheat on a yearly basis. Okay, Nigeria started importing soybean, to compensate for the shortage, even if some people are exporting soybean, which is a conflict of strategy. Okay, so these are the foundational inputs that are required to process poultry feeds, to process livestock feeds, right? If you were ranching, to feed the chickens, to feed the cattle, so that they can produce meat, milk, and eggs. If you don't solve these problems, why do you have a Ministry of Agriculture? Under the immediate past president, the central bank seized the Ministry of Agriculture. The Ministry of Agriculture was practically not functional. The Ministry of Agriculture was run from the 6th floor of the central bank, the central area in Abuja.
I don't know. That matter may be subject of court litigation now.
It's not a subject of litigation because it's well known that the Ministry of Agriculture was controlled by the Development Finance Department of the central bank.
Okay.
You had different programs. Green Sector Sports Facility, Anchor Brewers program that trillions of naira was pumped into. The only area where we can say that they made an impact was in rice.
All right.
But even at that, we still have a shortage of rice.
All right.
Rice paddy.
Yeah, the matter is in court as we speak. But I want to, I want you to speak to, because the president, he's actually promised, if you look at the transcript of his speech, this ministry. But I wanted to look at the fact that he's also buying the recommendation of ranching from the Atairu Jega committee, and Ganduje committee. Is buying the recommendation of ranching, and I want to speak on that as in the light of the fact that the Rural Grazing Area Scheme, probably known as RUGA, which the federal government under Buhari controversially tried to introduce in 2019, Nigerians kicked against it. Some Nigerians, many Nigerians, kicked against it. And then he replaced it with livestock intervention program, which people kicked against. So we have the livestock transformation program as well. People are afraid that they want to take their lands, because of cows and all that. It's another colonization. So let's leave out the Ministry of Livestock Development. Do we need government to create ranches for pastoralists and people in cow business and herdsmen to use around the country?
One major cultural shift we need to have in Nigeria is the idea that we'll solve food shortage through an increase in the number of smallholder farmers or herders. It's a fallacy. In the US, only 2% of their population, that is over 300 million, are actually participating in the agricultural value chain. Yet America produces more than 200 million metric tons of corn. And about 47% of that corn they produce is actually used to produce biograde ethanol. Okay? So we don't need more bodies in terms of more smallholder farmers and herders. What we need is mechanization. We need to understand that the livestock value chain is an entire value chain that is very broad. For you to succeed with livestock, you need to pay attention to ranching, but first you need to pay attention to the industrial feed mills that will produce pelletized feed for cattle. You need to pay attention to the semen or vials that are used for artificial insemination to increase the liters of milk. The average cow, for example, the Sokoto Budali cow, the white cow that milks in Nigeria, it does between 1.5 to 2 liters of milk per day. The Jersey cow, the Holstein Friesian, does anywhere between 35 to 40 liters of milk per day, because over time they've been able to improve through crossbreeding.
Yeah, but Kelvin, Kelvin Emmanuel, I'm sorry to interject here, but maybe because of your your knowledge of these advanced technologies, maybe you're not looking enough, and most of us are not looking enough at the fact that it is not just an agricultural issue, it's a social issue and a security issue that needs to be solved. I tell you what, sir. I tell you what. In Ghana, they also have this farmer header issue. They have this herdsman issue. You have Fulani spread across West Africa and even other parts of Africa, as you're well aware of. They created what they call the Zongo Development Commission. I'm describing it loosely. Zongo is where most of the houses, stay. If you go to Ghana, you go to any city, any town, most towns have their Zongo. And these places are run down, not too nice, dirty, not developed and neglected, because most of those people who stay in their houses, and the locals don't see them as part of the normal Ghanaian community, so they're just on their own, So in order to make it, make them feel at home and probably also integrate them, the Ghanaian government under this president, they build schools in these places, build hospitals, build and all that. And even the places where they have cows, they say, okay, we're going to give you money, we're going to invest money here and make sure that you can keep your cows here. We'll give you everything you need. And the turnaround effect of that is it's led to reduced friction, clashes, death, loss of life, loss of agricultural produce, an increase in food security. So should we not be looking? Sorry, my question is a bit long. Should we not be looking? Yes.
It's first a cultural issue, because the pastoralists, the nomadic pastoralists, they've had this culture for decades. So you need to first reorient them and dissuade them from the idea that the way to raise cattle is to take them from state to state on the road. The very idea of moving cattle, when cattle walk long distances, they burn kilocalories. The kilocalories they burn is what they need to produce milk, is what they need to lactate. So there has to be a cultural shift. For you to set up buffer zones or grazing zones where you provide a community for them, schools, hospitals or clinics, or health dispensary days, provide milking parlors, provide feeds, provide cold storage facilities, like the cold storage tank that is required to store milk after you milk from the milking parlor to prevent it from increasing the bacterial load and reducing the quality of the milk. You need to reorient the nomadic pastoralists, that the culture they've had from 100 years ago is not the modern way of raising dairy.
Is that not why we need a ministry? Because it's a deep issue. It goes down to the roots of this country. It's so unique that it needs its own some focus, that the Ministry of Agri cannot devote time to that.
No, the Ministry of Agri can do it. You only need like a department or a division for animal husbandry, which I'm sure they have. If you check the Ministry of Agri, I'm sure they have a division or a department that is focused on animal husbandry. The question is leadership. You don't need to create a separate ministry for it or development commission for it.
All right. I have some more questions for you, but let's allow our listeners to come in at this point. 0201-277-0993. Don't forget, the APC national chairman, who's former governor of Kano State, Abdullah Ganduje, for those of you listening, organized what is called National Conference on Livestock Reforms and Mitigation of Associated Conflicts in Nigeria. This was in 2023. Now, after that conference, they took their resolutions to the president. So this is what we met and this is what we came up with. The president, from those resolutions, approved the establishment of a presidential committee dedicated to reform of livestock industry. Of course, Ganduje was there. Also, Jega, former INEC chairman, was also there. And that committee presented a report. And the president has now created another committee to implement the recommendations, look at the recommendations and look at the ones that need to be implemented. He says he's going to chair the committee while Jega will be his deputy. So that's two committees back to back. And he says that it's now paving the way for the creation of a ministry. All right. So let's take the next call, just for those who are listening who want to catch up with the conversation. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
All right, welcome. What's your name?
Yes, I also did your visit to the studio and same time. Kofi, I think this is a duplication of duty.
All right.
I don't think we actually need to get another ministry to do the same job which can be done by the Minister of Agriculture. Are with me?
All right.
So I think, and again, we have other areas which we should even try to, find a lasting peace for this head-up and the farmer crisis.
All right.
And I don't believe that this will even quell that issue we're having there. You will see, because I know that what we are doing now is just a trial and error, thing. But I believe that this will not quell
Thank you.
that issue we have. Thank you.
All right. Duplication, he says. We have Jonathan on the line, after which I'll go to your messages. Hello, good morning. Jonathan.
Morning, Kofi. I'll be Serido. Good morning, Jonathan.
Welcome. Welcome.
Kofi, I will not perch on this issue from the angle of its duplication. I will not perch on this issue that we have an agreed ministry. I will not perch on this issue the way people have been contributing. Just like you said, Kofi, this is another approach that I think we should understand. And they are trying to solve our pension on this issue because they are trying to solve a problem of conflict. Now we are having like a food shortage. All this while, Buhari has been trying to do Ruga, they go against it. And that is not serious for me. All this while, they have been saying governors should provide land. That is not a solution. I just think just this approach is now they are serious about it. That's the way I look at it. I think we should understand that, just like you said, Kofi, all what you highlighted, I agree with you. Let's look at this approach and let's see how it's going to go. And also, like your guest said, there's a lot of industry in this husbandry, which we are not annexing to. All I'm only interested in is the modus operandi. I want to hear from the federal government what is the modus operandi of this new ministry. That is what Jonathan, is interested.
All right,
For that,
thank you.
I'm in support of it.
Thank you. We
Thank
don't
you,
even know
Ramon.
yet. Okay, I want to go back again. Kelvin, Emmanuel, what do you say to what that last caller has said?
You see, Kofi, we don't lack solutions to the problem. Our problem is implementation. The solution to the food crisis in Nigeria, even if we're in crisis period, are known. The recent decision of the president to create a 150-day window to allow food coming without duties and levies, certain food items, and then create like a national price framing, national price reference price framework, is a temporary solution. The real solution to the problem is backward integration.
All right,
Kofi. And for you to do backward integration, you need some time. You need to focus on fertilizer, vaccines, chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, the seeds. And this is the reason why, Kofi, I said there are about 49 agricultural research institutions under the Ministry of Agri. Fund the research institutions to develop better seeds that can produce higher yield per hectare so that you can stop importing seeds used to grow crops in Nigeria. Okay? If you don't focus on the crops, the backward integration for the fertilizer, by the way, there are about 72 fertilizer blending companies in Nigeria. So there's not a shortage of fertilizer blending companies. There's more than enough installed capacity for fertilizer blending in Nigeria. Nigeria has ammonium nitrate gas that is used for producing urea and phosphate. Nigeria doesn't have muriate of potash. It imports it. Because of the FX, a lot of companies are not able to get, even with cash cover, letters of credit from M to import these products. So the inflation in the prices of fertilizer, chemicals, seeds, the cost of diesel that is used to open land for production of food is the reason why you're seeing the most of the food inflation you're seeing. So for you to solve the problem, you need to go back to the primary production through backward integration.
All right.
And the solutions to those problems are known.
Okay. Interesting. I want to read. Thank you very much. I want to read a message here. Quite interesting. I want to read a message here from Olusegun Ajayi. You know, when you were talking, something crossed my mind that sometimes it's not about how you get to where you're going to. The matter is get there first. You know, I don't know what you say about that. Whether it's through Ministry of Agriculture, whether it's through Ministry of Livestock, as long as you get to solve the farmer-header clash issue, lack of development in livestock industry and all these things you're talking about, maybe we just try and get there somehow. I don't know if you agree. Because the president is also talking about some of these things you mentioned. For instance, the use of technology, the use of vet doctors and all these things you talked about to boost livestock production, to produce more milk, more cheese, get the relevant technology. He talked about the traditional system of livestock or livestock system needs to be changed. It needs to be reformed, like you said, to add sustainable value to Nigeria's socio-economic growth and development. And he seems to be personally, concerned about this. That's why he's making himself chairman. So these things you're talking about, Kelvin, he's mentioned them in his speech yesterday. They said they need to change the traditional system, and he's talked about the fact that they have solved the problem, looking at the report, that they've identified the models for livestock management, as is done in other countries and other crimes that has been successfully done. And they want to create that in Nigeria today. So can't we say all these things you've said is the same thing I see the president say, may we just reach there, whether in our Ministry of Agriculture or Livestock, as long as we get there. That's most important. I don't know if you'll agree to that, Kelvin.
Kofi, we have our debt to GDP ratio is currently 52%. It's 12% above the crisis or the cap that the Fiscal Responsibility Commission of 2007, Fiscal Responsibility Act, set up. 40% debt to GDP ratio. Our deficit in the budget is 51%. The government does not have enough revenue to fund its budget, so it has to borrow money. In fact, I hear that NNPC is in the market to borrow about $2 billion to fund these operations or whatever, maybe petrol subsidy, and they will come up with more details on what they want to borrow $2 billion for. So the point I'm trying to make is, if you create a new ministry, you need money to finance it. Where's the money going to come from? Nigeria needs to reduce the number of parastatals from 262. The president needs to close some of them down, merge some of them together to reduce the cost of governance. It doesn't need to increase it. If the people he has saddled with the responsibility of meeting up with the KPIs for reducing food inflation in Nigeria are not doing their job, he has the power with his biro to sack them, Kofi, and bring new people that will perform. That's why he's the president.
Okay, all right. So funding is going to be a major challenge. We want to leave it at that. Kelvin, Emmanuel, you've said a lot, but the thesis of what you've said is that the federal government should not create such a ministry. Let it be under the Ministry of Agri, but also, more importantly, or equally importantly, rather, get sources of investment into this, rather than spending scarce government resources to build ranches and bring in technology and all that. Kelvin, Emmanuel, Economist, thank you very much for your time. We should have had more time. This matter, it's not a 1 hour talk, but thank you so very kindly this morning.
Thank you so much, Kofi.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll pay our bills right back.
Nigeria Info will be right back.
The search for Nigeria's bravest children is on. The 16th Indomie Heroes Awards themed The Unsung Heroes is here. A CSR initiative powered by Duffield Prima Foods Limited. The
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.